everyone, so welcome back to another video. Today I thought I would be doing one that I haven't seen too much of, and I just thought that it would be a really fun character to make, so I decided to make him from Powerpuff Girls. I don't know if you remember him, but he was the very how would I say, flamboyant villain. And he just had such a nice costume and look to him, so I thought he would make a good character to make. So I'm starting off again with my armature wire and trying to build, I believe, a head, yes, out of the tin foil. I'm still trying to figure out what's the best way to come about making the armature wiring and how to include the head and everything. So I think that at this point I just decided to start with the head so I could get that out of the way, and just rolled some clay and placed it on top of the aluminum wire. And here I'm just rolling out more clay so I could place on top of the head. And of course I had to have my Universal Monsters mug with hot chocolate to keep me company. And then I just started rolling out some clay for the ears, which he has elf-like ears. And then I drew a little swirl on the ears with my dotting tool and smoothed it out, because it came, once I carved it in, it would like lift the clay a little bit. And then I connected it to the head and smoothed that out. And made the other one. Everything looks good. And I was about to do the nose, but I figured doing the mouth first would be easier. So again, using my dotting tool, I carved out a very wide grin and drew some teeth into it. And then I made the little cheeks out of small pieces of clay. I thought they looked very cute. And the nose, I just had a really hard time with the nose, because obviously, as you can see, that's not look good. It looked very big, not proportioned. So I gave up on that for a little bit, and then I went ahead and did the, I would say like the area above his eyebrows. And then I tried to go in with several rolls of clay to shape the nose and make it kind of like a triangular shape. And basically from there, I just tried to smooth it with my hand and make it as accurate as the pictures of him. Finally got it to the shape that I wanted, and then I cut out his eyes. I first cut circles, and then cut them in half to make the eyes. I then made his little chin, which in hindsight I would have done with cast clay, because it did break after I baked it. It was just so fragile. So I got that baked, and then I started to go ahead and start with his body. And he has a very slender body, so there wasn't much to build up with the aluminum. So I started with his torso, covered it. And again, it was trial and error trying to figure out where exactly his head was going to be positioned. But in the meantime, I started to smooth out his body. And then I started working on his little belt and made a buckle out of rolled clay. Everything was looking good. He looked like a nice peanut with a belt and legs. And this was another challenge where I just didn't know how exactly I was going to make his ruffles. So I tried a bunch of different things. I tried to make indents on a thick roll of clay, I got rid of that because I decided it did not look good. I tried to make it like a roll of clay and then just like do squiggles with it. That wasn't gonna stay. Try to make it smaller, that wasn't gonna stay. And so I did go with a thicker piece and then just smushed it all together, and that somehow stayed. So I was very happy with that. I then decided to work on his legs, which I attached baking bond, and then realized that it was not gonna stick. So I needed to make them a little bit thicker because of his boots. So I went ahead, took it out, put some aluminum foil, put some baking bond on top of the foil, and then attached the clay to start working on his legs. I then just kept adding a little bit more clay to build up his legs, and more so the area of his boots, since those were thicker than his actual legs. I'm just trying to make sure everything's proportioned, and I started smoothing everything out. And at this part, I decided to super glue the legs into place so that I was able to work on pretty much the heels of the boots, which were really fun because it's always fun to make stilettos out of clay. I then tried to figure out what was the best way to make his ruffles for his neck. Again, trial and error, and then ultimately I decided to go with cutting out a circle, or kind of like a ruffle shaped circle, and just tying that around his neck. I then worked on his hands, which are pretty much like lobster claws. And again, this was just all trial and error. Ultimately, I made like the top half, entered the armature wire into that, and then blended in the bottom claw, if that makes any sense. I then added the little tiny details, like there's like a little bolt that goes onto them. And then I decided to bake those separately, as well as the head again, so that I don't mess those up. So then I went and decided to work on the arms. I first went ahead and put thinner wire onto the arms so that the clay could grip on it. But I figured that you don't really need to do that. As long as you put baking bond onto the armature wire and then add in the clay, that you should be fine. And again, in hindsight, I would have put the armature for the arms before doing the rest, because it just made it harder to make everything look balanced and making sure that it went in. As you can see, it kept on falling off, and I just had to keep on drilling holes and super gluing it. And it would have just been easier if I had added the arms way before I even started the body. So here I'm just smoothing everything out, and it really took me a long time to try to get this all proportioned, but ultimately it worked out, and I'm just putting on some clay softener to get rid of any wrinkles or anything like that. Again, the head wasn't singing. It was very frustrating, but somehow I got it in and made sure. I think it was just a lot of super glue that helped with that. And then I went in and started painting. Again, I used the Folk Art acrylic matte paints, and these you can just find on Amazon or Michaels. They're fairly inexpensive. And just went ahead and did his boots, then his body. The hair I drew on, which was pretty simple to do. And now I'm just drawing in his teeth, which I should have done the teeth, the white part, before the black, but again, it's all practice. And I mixed a few different types of reds, like red with black or red with blue to give me different varieties of red, since he has like about 3 different varieties in his costume. I added the final last details, going in with different colored paints. I then finished him off with a couple coats of a glossy varnish, painted the base black, and he was ready to go. Overall, I really liked how this one came out, even though I cried about 3 times while making this. He came out proportionate, the colors came out very well, and I'm just very proud with what I did, only having a few months of experience. So I really hope that you guys liked it. Let me know what you think, like and subscribe, and I'll see you ghouls next time.